nation's goodwill ambassador, a passionate environmentalist, and a man who will be part of the welcoming party in the US as for the arriving ceremony of Prime Minister Modi on his first state visit. Ricky Kej joining us here on News9 Live. Ricky, thank you so much for taking time out in your busy schedule to speak to us, talk to us. Your relationship with the US goes back a long way. A 3-time Grammy Award winner, unprecedented for an Indian, and here you are being invited, by the US to welcome Prime Minister Modi on his first state visit to America.
Of course, it's amazing. I'm actually in America because a few days ago I had a concert at the United Nations General Assembly, and also I received my status at a ceremony at the UN headquarters for my Goodwill Ambassadorship. So I got back to my hotel room and I opened up my email, and I was very pleasantly surprised that I got an invite from the White House to actually be a part of the welcoming ceremony of Prime Minister Modi ji for his first state visit. So it was a very exciting moment for me, and it's going to be amazing to actually witness this state visit, a meeting between the largest, by a huge margin, the largest democracy on this planet, and also what is said to be the oldest democracy on this planet. And this meeting can only be beneficial for this planet.
Right. We'll get to the planet in just a bit, Ricky, but I wanted to ask you, you've been in the US, you've been working with musicians and artists from the US. You know what it's like for an Indian musician. We sort of understood it when A.R. Rahman went and won his Oscars and Grammys, and you've done it. You've been in the music scene interacting with the best of the best in America. What does something like this kind of a state visit by a Prime Minister from India to the US do for the artistic community?
It does a lot for the artistic community because the visibility of India and the credibility of India has gone up, exponentially in the last few years. Especially, when you look at artists feel very strongly about issues like climate issues and environmental issues. And if you look at India, in the past, India was never even part of the conversation when it came to intergovernmental policies or intergovernmental talks about climate change and about, species extinction, deforestation, air pollution, all of this stuff. And now, for the last few years, India is not only a part of the conversation, but India is in fact taking leadership when it comes to these conversations. So this helps everybody, not just the artistic community, but the artistic community obviously benefits very, very largely from this.
Right. And as you've been telling us, you're a passionate environmentalist as well. Talk to us, from that perspective. India doing so well when it comes to its own capabilities to make renewable energy, and also very important part of the conversations that India has with any other country, especially Prime Minister Modi himself being quite keen on taking up this issue with the US as well.
Definitely, because India has very, very strong commitments when it comes to renewable energy, when it comes to, fulfilling the sustainable development goals by 2030. And also, if you look at the Solar Alliance itself, the Solar Alliance, which India did in partnership along with France and was announced at the COP21 in Paris in 2015, which is going to be a complete game changer. Tropical nations all over the world coming together to produce enough renewable energy to pretty much power the global south. So all of this coming together, all of these ambitious but attainable goals coming together is going to put India on the leadership, if not already on the leadership when it comes to mitigating the effects of climate change and making this world a better place, not just for us Indians, but for the rest of the world too.
Right. With more and more of this visibility factor you're talking about, are you looking at more and more musicians like yourself? Ricky Kej will go down as a legend, as the man from Bangalore who's gone ahead and won 3 Grammys. Can we expect more and more Ricky Kejes to come forward with the kind of partnerships that are being witnessed between the US and America right now?
Definitely, and that Indian musicians are definitely coming of age, and we will definitely see more and more Indian musicians being recognized all over the world. But what is important over here is that when it comes to international recognition, most Indian musicians feel that, that they themselves have to create Western music, they themselves have to make songs in English and, pop songs which are more Western in nature. But what I've realized is that all the Indian musicians in the past, even me, who have actually gained international recognition, have always stuck to their roots and have always created music which is based on Indian traditions and Indian musical cultures. If you look at Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Vishnu Mohan Bhatt, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Ustad Allah Rakha, all of them, it's been absolutely amazing. And of course, collaborations are very important to bring together cultures and to bring together mindsets and to bring countries together, like how we are doing with India and USA. But at the same time, for us, it's important to stick to our roots and figure out what is it that makes us uniquely, artistically Indian.
Oh, yeah. Talking about uniquely Indian and sticking to our roots, Ricky, we are at the threshold of the 9th International Yoga Day. It is yoga is in every single which way possible the greatest gift from India as a civilization to the world, and that's a topic that you yourself too are extremely passionate about.
Absolutely. It was a huge occasion. It was a huge matter of pride in 2014 when June 21st was declared by the United Nations as the International Day of Yoga. And this was completely Prime Minister Modi ji's doing. And through this declaration of the World Yoga Day on Prime Minister Modi's insistence, if I may say so, it has popularized yoga and made it a household name all over the world. And people are now realizing that ancient Indian, traditions like yoga actually is nothing but preventative healthcare. That's what it is. Healthcare has always been about that after you get a disease, then you have to figure out what you have to do with it. But yoga in our ancient culture teaches us that you have to lead a life of wellness. And that is what yoga is all about. So the whole world can benefit so strongly from yoga and practices around yoga.
Right. Fact of the matter is that, Ricky, it's interesting, isn't it? Yoga has been taken up by the West for many, many years, many decades, even before the International Yoga Day was officially announced. Do you think that, that acceptance of yoga has only doubled and tripled and quadrupled with something like the International Day of Yoga?
No, but you're absolutely right that yoga has always existed in the West and everywhere else in the world before the International Day of Yoga. But International Day of Yoga took it to a whole new level, not just of more and more people practicing it, but in terms of credibility. Because now the United Nations declaring an International Day of Yoga gave it a lot more credibility to the Western mind. It already had tremendous amount of credibility within India and within anybody who understood what yoga is all about. But then now everybody in the world understood how amazing yoga is and how important it is to bring yoga into our lives.
Oh, right. Ricky, I want to understand, how are you sort of prepping yourself for the big night or the big day, so to speak? The day is just beginning in the US, in New York. Tell us, what are your plans for the day, so to speak, your itinerary for the day?
So on the 21st, obviously in the morning, I'm going to be reaching the United Nations headquarters at about I think about 7:30. I'll be reaching there to be ready for the World Yoga Day celebrations. And Prime Minister Modi, I've heard, is going to be leading the Yoga Day, so I'm going to do my best to follow him. Follow him in the yoga practice. And then after that, on the 22nd is going to be the welcome party. For Prime Minister Modi to the White House, and I will be at the White House again very early morning at 7:30 on the 22nd. And these 2 days are going to be extremely exciting.
All right, and early starts on both days, Ricky. Tell us, do you have time for any other commitments apart from this over the next 48 hours?
Of course, I've got concerts. I've got a concert tonight in New York and tomorrow night again in New York. And then I've got another concert in Washington, D.C. on the 23rd. So, and then I head back to India. I head back home finally on the 24th.
To Bangalore.
Bangalore, which is my home, which is, I'm guessing, your home too.
No, I'm from Chennai, actually, nearby. Love Bangalore, though. I want to ask you just one last thing before we let go of you. So, which means you're telling us that you will be part of the Prime Minister Modi's state visit, festivities in the morning, and going back to do a concert in the evening. That's what your next 2-3 days looks like?
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. But that's how it is normally for us musicians, right? We've got like packed schedules and flights to catch immediately after a concert and things like that. So it's day as usual, but of course extremely exciting that in the morning I get to be a part of this historic occasion.
All right, rock star Ricky Kej, it is over there, historic visit, a historic person being part of this historic visit. Ricky Kej, 3 times Grammy Award winner and United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. Thank you so much for taking time out to speak with us here on News9. And off you go. All the best. Have a ball of a time, Ricky. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right, and with that, we wrap up this very special conversation with Ricky Kej. It's time for a short breather. News and analysis will continue shortly on the other side. Keep it with News9.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं क्योंकि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं.
Coaching is now starting from grade 3, 4.